Roundtable, coming to you live from the Atlantic Television Network here in the Garden City of Port Harcourt. Today's Press Roundtable promises to be interesting. The Press Roundtable is a garden of media professionals who come together to look into news and current affairs issues, giving insights and perspectives and balance. Well, today is going to be interesting. Let's take some of the headlines that are trending today in the last 24 hours. Army discovers illegal refinery in Rivers State. And from Lagos State Council's report that police arrest some suspected drug peddlers. On the federal capital, the Catholic Secretariat of Nigeria demand urgent action to address insecurity. NLC TUC declare 14-day strike notice. Well, joining me is no other person than Bill Cosby Jones. Well, you're talking about Bill Cosby Jones of Rivers State. Well, he's a radio chief, so that says it all. He's a broadcast journalist. We're going to short break. When we come back, we'll hit the road, running with some of the stories that are trending in details.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the Sahara. We bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN. Documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Soldiers, you're welcome back, really. I'm not just in a hurry to take the stories. It is Press Roundtable if you're just joining us. Soldiers of 6th Division, Nigerian Army, Port Harcourt, has discovered an illegal refining site with capacity of 5 million liters of crude oil in Obuama, community of Oyibo local government area of Rivers State. Speaking after taking journalists around the site on Thursday, the General Officer commanding GOC 6th Division, Major General Jamal Abdul Salam, expressed displeasure over the activities of vandals. General Salam, who explained that the perpetrators were determined to sabotage the economy of the nation through their illegal oil deals, vowed the Nigerian Army will redouble efforts to apprehend the sponsors of the economic crime. He encouraged youths to embrace legitimate business, warning that no one found to be engaged in oil theft will be spared, no matter their status in the site. GOC said that the confiscated products will be handed over to relevant agencies for further action. Other items also seized from the site were over 5 wooden boats of about 2,000 liters capacity each, laden with adulterated petroleum products. General Salom stated this when he paid a courtesy visit on NDDC Managing Director Dr. Samuel Obuku at the Commission's headquarters in Port Harcourt Thursday. He said, "We need each other to succeed. We want to cement the existing relationship between NDDC and the Army." Well, collaboration. I begin to wonder what collaboration NDDC would like to have with the Army in terms of policing the creeks against oil theft.
The NDDC is an interventionist agency.
Yeah.
Built to develop Niger Delta. So, but you can't develop a region without security. Yeah. So that's where the collaboration comes in. But,
okay.
You know, but building on that, the proliferation of illegal oil refining sites in River State, an entire Niger Delta, is not surprising to anybody. I mean, in recent times, it's other one news of an oil refining site gone bad, people burned beyond recognition and all of that. And it has not deterred Niger Deltans from going into the illicit trade. It's a conglomeration, it's a coming together of a lot of factors. Factors stemming from unemployment, factors stemming from the perception, factors coming from the get-rich-quick syndrome, factors of inadequate policing, that's inadequate provision of security. And so if you start looking at these issues one after the other, you will see that 3 out of 4 is pointing to government inadequacies or government inability to provide some of these, inability to provide security, inability to provide proper employment for the teeming youths. But above all, we have seen a society where people eulogize, people praise, people give awards, people give chieftaincy titles to whoever they deem, whoever they look at as successful, regardless of what the business a person is engaged in. Whether illicit, whether illegal, whether legitimate, it doesn't matter. In as much as you can come to an occasion and you dole out money. And so a lot of these characters have assumed a top figure, have assumed top figures in society.
Yeah.
So it's sending a wrong signal to people who would want to engage in legitimate business and want to eke out a living slowly but making wealth. It's really encouraging. And so government needs to, first off, see how we can alternate employment. It's not, everybody must not work with the oil and gas sector, in the oil and gas sector.
Yeah.
Everybody must not work in top government agencies like NDDC and more. But,
blue collar,
but make the business environment climate enough, the business climate, all right, conducive enough for businesses to thrive and employment and people massively employed.
Yeah.
A lot of these crimes will reduce.
Now look at the details of the story. I was happy when I heard the GOC talking about handing over the arrested vessel and to an appropriate authority.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Now, before now, we used to have an environment-unfriendly approach of banning these vessels and then creating a lot of pollution in the atmosphere. So I think that it's like the Army is trying to improve in its approach to stemming this tide of oil theft in Niger Delta. Before, there were environmental degradation in the region, and that did not speak well. Most Nigerians were protesting. How can you be arresting oil theft or oil thieves only to use the arrested products to pollute the environment rather than actually give you back
doing
to
the right thing? But the thing is, the Army at that time, not just the Army and some other security operatives used the extreme measure, thinking that they are punishing those who are involved in the trade, not knowing that they are punishing the environment and therefore harming the inhabitants of this area. You know that then there was the suit.
Yeah.
All right.
The suit syndrome. Yeah.
Yes, and simply the improperly combusted hydrocarbon filled up the air and a lot of pests. But let's look beyond what's happening now and look at solution. In 2018, the DPR then, as it was then called, the Department of Petroleum Resources give out licenses for modular refinery. Why are those modular refineries not working? If we can convert some of these machinery, some of these mechanisms, some of these expertise into legitimately, constructed modular refinery, we will not be having this report of economic sabotage. At that point, I remember that over 25 modular refinery licenses were given. The licenses were in 3 stages. First is a license to establish, the next is a license to construct, and then the last will be the license approval to start refine the products. But at some point, they die down. There won't be competition, and that was why most of the modular refineries, most of the operations died down. Now that we have removed subsidy on petroleum, can the modular refineries come on stream, please? Yeah. Because now talking about nobody stops you from importing crude, because the explanation was that we do not produce enough to fill the local before given to modular refineries. We can import crude oil and then refine here for modular refineries to enable, to aid the Port Harcourt refineries, the 4 refineries, and the Dangote refinery, and you see that things will come back to its normal state. Yeah. Now we're talking about, is it 2,000 barrels a day? That's the estimate. Yes. That's the estimated capacity. Now, if we can meet that capacity, then we'll be able to feed local refineries. But the most important thing is the wheel. No, not 2 million. 2 million barrels per day. Because it's 2 million barrels. But the quota, the quota is 1.7. The quota changes 1.6. We're hovering around 1.6, 1.5, 1.7. Yeah. So if we can get up to 2 million barrels a day, then Nigeria would have been meeting its OPEC for political will by government, women functionaries. Edo State recently put up 2 modular refineries. And if every state in Niger Delta, indeed in the south, for example, because of proximity to raw materials, decide to open up modular refineries, are 3 each. I say this every time on our program. There are 3 senatorial zones in every state. If, for example, have 3 modular refineries plus Port Harcourt refinery, and Delta has 3 plus Warri refinery, and Edo has 3, Akwa Ibom 3, Cross River 3, and most of the states in the Niger Delta, actually south, and southeast, establish modular refineries, we will not be complaining about. We will no longer have these illegal refineries because they will not have any business. Because modular refineries will be refining legitimately and supplying clean fuel, especially kerosene and petroleum that they don't easily manufacture. They don't do that well. The only thing they do well now is diesel. The oil-fire people can only do diesel very well, but kerosene, especially petroleum, PMS, they are not very good at that. So if you have the modular refineries operating at full capacity, at least 3 in each state, in the states of southern Nigeria, or even north, if they can afford it, then these stories will become something different. And then Dangote refinery operating will also be, we may not have enough raw materials. That is when the issue of exploitation and exploration will increase. 2 million barrels is only in terms of OPEC in terms of export. It does not stop us. Which hovers between 1.7 and 1.8. Exactly. So it does not expect. It does not stop us from producing 4 million barrels, 5 million barrels if we can, and that is the point. So all we need to do is to intensify security in oil producing region. That's all we need. And then production will rise. Yes. And the fact is, oftentimes we look at artisans, people who are some of these illegal refineries for economic sabotage. But a lot of, I have understudied and then looked at the reason why we do not meet our OPEC quota. I have people who work in the oil sector, and I have handled a program called Oil and Gas. Most of the report you get is that Nigeria as a nation needs to look at the operations of IOCs. Yeah. Sometimes IOCs underreport, and that's the suspicion, that IOC underreport their production strength. They can produce 1.5 million barrels, and they report that they produced 800 barrels.
The other ones are smuggled.
Yes, the other ones are smuggled, and the Nigerian state may not know. So,
and even when they know, there's a collaboration.
There's a collaboration.
Yes.
Somebody somewhere will have their palms, greased, and so we need to.
That is the story of oil theft now.
Yes, we need to. Recently, Tantita, the security, apprehended some oil. So it's just not the land illegal oil refinery. There's a lot of theft, a lot of corruption
by IOCs,
in the oil and gas industry.
Some metropolitan county sea to steal our oil.
Now it's a conglomeration of a lot of factors. Militating against the growth and the development in the oil and gas industry. The government, like you said, you nailed it. Government needs to, that will should be there. The will to see that it will fight corruption on its head in the oil and gas sector. Now we run a mono economy. How then do you corruption in that sector? It's a cankerworm that must be stopped.
Okay, it's a cankerworm that must be stopped. Let's take the next story. The Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Adolu Egbetokun, has commanded the officer in charge of the police tactical team attached to Area K, Marobo, Lagos State Command, SP Ruwano Kasumu, and team for rejecting the sum of 4 million naira. We're talking about corruption, bribe, while investigating a case of drug peddling and unlawful possession of ammunition. In a statement Thursday, First Public Relations Officer ACP Moyiwa Adejobi said the team had arrested one Esther Newman Obiekeze, 42 years, Candy of number 6 Mojarad Street, Ilogbo, Lagos, on 6th February 2024 at her base, where she sells drugs called ice, and recovered a large quantity of the substance and some AK-47 live ammunition from her. Jesus. In the course of the investigation, the duo of Akete Esther, 43, and Oke Balam, 49 years, of Ajambadi, Lagos, came to the station in Ijanikin to solicit for the release of drug peddler Esther and offered the sum of 4 million naira and pleaded that the police should stop disrupting the illegal business, that's the drug peddling of Esther, henceforth. The police officer, who frowned at the offer, seized the cash and marked it exhibit and arrested the duo for investigation and prosecution. The IGP therefore reiterates the commitment, unquote, of the force to harnessing all available means and adopting professional anti-crime strategies to tackle forms of crimes and criminality in Nigeria.
It sounds too good to be true.
Yes.
But it is what it is. In as much as we badmouth the police.
Police, yeah.
There are still few good eggs there, if not so many, in the Nigerian police force. So, I'm happy that we have officers who can hold their heads high, saying that we are honest and we remain honest. That's a good one. It's a very good, it's an encouragement to crime fighting in our society, that a Nigerian policeman will reject 4 million naira, not 400,000, 4 million naira. That's a good one. But moving forward, the drug peddling in Nigeria does have a strong ring, all over Nigeria.
You can see there was a gun there. A gun was found. So we're becoming Colombia.
Yes.
Of course, Colombians brought the ice to Nigeria.
I don't know about.
Yes, we had the story. We had stories of them having laboratories where they manufacture ice, and our young men keyed into it, and it became,
that drug ice, the one they call urumini here. The invention of that ice, I think it went in circulation in the past 10 years. 10 years before now.
It was not the last 3 years or 4 years.
And
the Colombian agents entered this country and they began to refine.
It spread like wildfire. Nigeria
and more in the rural areas.
Yes.
That is the danger. And that is why if you look at the level of madness caused by ice today, you see more of people in the villages. Because the laboratory came to rural areas.
Yes. It speaks more on the how spread the cartel is. If you look at what's happening, I was once in a vehicle with somebody who I suspected was a drug peddler, and then he, at some point, we were riding on a public vehicle, and before we got to the police, there was a police checkpoint, and he started fidgeting. All of a sudden, he started sweating, and I was wondering, what is wrong with this young man? He was on ease. He was not steady. Before we got to
the one is resting.
Before we got to the checkpoint, he alighted from the vehicle. Few meters to the police here, and I suspected that. And we see things like this happening almost all the time. In the street, drug is sold with careless abandon. People, reckless about people. You know, it's not a hidden trade in Nigeria. It is a very commendable one. I just wish that the Nigerian police officers can take heed, can take this as an example, and shine like a beacon in crime fighting. This police officer should stand for recommendation.
Should become a DIG.
Should be promoted. Should be rewarded. It will add as an example. It will act as an encouragement to any officer who is out there, honest, doing his job. Let this man stand as an ambassador of the Nigerian police.
Because most times when we come with stories here, the press will always talk about corrupt police officers, call for reforms. This is an example that
it's something that we should talk about
we should
more.
Promote and should go around the country. So that's why I brought this story. Now, but the most important thing is that police is saying this. Can we be sure of what NDLA is doing? Can we hear this kind of tale from NDLA that some people are offering bribe? Because the issue of ice production in Nigeria is something that is viral and everybody seems to know. But we don't seem some kind of orchestrated, arrest, some kind of open arrest that may become a good example for people to be deterred.
True. In as much as I totally agree with you, I also, we need to face reality and what reality is. What is reality? Reality is that we don't have enough security operatives to man this country. Yeah. That's the reality. So
why did we create NDLA?
What's the strength of NDLA?
Okay.
What's the staff strength of NDLA? How many people, if you draw the ratio with Nigerian population, how many people can they adequately marshal?
Police, yeah.
How many people can they adequately watch over? So you can't give what you don't have. It's as simple as ABC.
So are you saying that the problem is their number? The
problem is manning the country effectively, and that you mentioned it, number. We need to start increasing. We need to adequately start recruiting for these agencies to man and police our country properly. We have, in case of the police, we have more policemen with VIP than the police in the streets ordering law and order.
The ratio is so small.
It's
below the UN recommendation. But my take on this thing before we go on break is the fact that yes, NDLA is a major body charged, but you have NAFDAC is involved, customs are involved, immigrations, police, even army. They're all involved in policing every manner of misdemeanor and criminality in the country. So if we don't have enough of NDLE, the police just did that job.
They have their work cut out for them. Do not forget that kidnapping is on the rise.
Okay.
So you can't have
other agencies are overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed. You can't have police, tackling kidnapping and have the army fighting terrorism, and you overburdening them with the issue of
customs fighting smuggling.
Customs fighting smuggling, NAFDAC fighting illegal drugs, substandard drugs and unadulterated. So it's a very serious issue. The issue is increase the number of personnel in all the forces and see how we can start. I remember that a presidential candidate, I think it was Kwankwaso, said he was going to raise the army to 1 million personnel.
That'll be like Chinese army.
You know, but that's how to
But how many Nigerians? You saw what happened in Abia State recently when their governor was crying about the refusal of their young men to join the army. The level of patriotism in this country has petered out. It has dwindled and went to a point where Nigerians don't see the need to join any of the forces.
But that's the story in Abia State is not the same in Rivers. It's not the same in Delta.
No, Rivers State, many people refused. Niger Delta have refused to meet their quota, military quota. Ask, do your research. Yes, they don't meet their quota. They don't meet their quota in the police. They don't meet their quota in the army. They don't.
But you know, it's a regional problem.
It is a
regional problem. No, it seems to be.
Kaduna State is always stopping the number.
You will see the northern part of Nigeria embracing this with a lot of, and even needing more added to their quota. I think it's the orientation of our people.
We need to enlighten Nigerians to begin to see the need to be patriotic. The problem is, some people say they are underpaid, and it could be true. They're not paid much, and the level of suffering. I told a cousin to join the army. He said they would take me to Sambisa Forest and just finish me. He said there's no need.
But again, you pointed out motivation is low, and I think we need to preach patriotism more. Less what we gain and more of what we can do for Nigeria, and not what Nigeria can do for us.
Well, thank you very much. I think that's much we can take for this half hour. We will encroach into the next half hour. So let's go on a short break. When we come back, we continue with more interesting stories. Nigeria must survive. Don't go away.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human
on the point of order.
Honorable
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
from the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains. Through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, business. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe today, only on ATN.
You're welcome back. It is still Atlantic Television Press Roundtable coming to you here live, and Bill Cosby Jones is still here in the studio. Bill Cosby. Now, I'm sure you watched the matches of yesterday.
Yes, it was really
Nigeria
tension soaked.
Yeah.
I had to be consulting my medic.
Many people died. 2 persons died.
Yes.
A U Copper died. A former House of Rep member also died. Cairo something.
Yes.
Died and all that.
It was tension soaked.
I think Nigerians should learn how to absorb shock. Me, I won't tell you lies. I was watching the match tape. I came back. I told my children I wasn't going to watch the match. On the first instance, I started sleeping. When I had go,
you woke up.
That's that penalty.
And joined.
I woke up and I joined, and that's why I nearly killed myself. I now brought back the toga of a sports journalist, which was my first love.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was a sports journalist. So I brought back. I said, look, I will praise this side and praise this side. That was what saved me. But if you watch that match as a fan, you die.
No, of course.
All right. Let's get back to the business of today. It's Press Roundtable, not sports. The Catholic Secretariat of Nigeria calls on the federal government to take urgent action to address the escalating insecurity across Nigeria. In a parley with journalists in Abuja on Thursday, the CSN Secretary General of the Church of the group, Reverend Father Zacharias Sanjumi, represented by his deputy, Father Michael Banjo, said, while we are not allowed to go into the field to provide the necessary military power to secure the nation, we appeal to the consciences of government officials when we meet them. We appeal to the government to fulfill its primary duties of securing lives and property. He said whatever is happening in society is a reflection of the situation in families, as families are the building blocks of society. He further underscored the church's limited capacity to directly influence each family's role in raising children away from criminal activities. Boy. Well,
I think if every religious organization from every religion can start speaking out, insecurity is not one's business. You know, the insecurity in the northern part of Nigeria, in every part of Nigeria, does not know religion. All right, so if religious organizations can speak out, they are also part of the society. It's not one to always shout when something happens to a particular session or a particular religion. We should come as one. I remember when Boko Haram started. It started firstly with that Western education is a sin, and that's the translation of Boko Haram. And then I remember when the Christians were persecuted in the northern part of Nigeria, and they went, oh, because we are Christians, and all of a sudden we started hearing detonations of bombs and IEDs in the mosque.
Exactly.
So it became very obvious that it wasn't a religious war. It was a war against humanity in Nigeria. And so until we start seeing it,
that's what terror is: war against humanity, war against establishment.
Yes. Until we start seeing it at that, to start speaking together in one voice, devoid of religious inclinations, this country will not achieve a terror-free status. And I liked it. The thing is, it's not just about speaking it. There should be a total re-engineering of our orientation. There should be this orientation of whether Mr. Bond is a Christian or a Muslim. I see him as a Nigerian. Yeah. If he is in need, if I hear anything at all that will aid in securing his life, I should say it.
That's the point. Go out and then Christian organizations should be speaking out and calling on the because they are part of the you talk about the conscience of society. You talk of authors, journalists, religious organizations, teachers. These are the parents. These are and the aspect of parents is where the church also struck the chord. They talked about lost values. That because family values are lost, that's why we're having insecurity. Because if we have family values etched in the minds of Nigerians, you know what it is in terms of family values: love for one another, do not kill, do not do evil to evil. Well, if you pinch yourself and it pains you, don't do it to another person and all that. Be a brother's keeper.
True.
Share love, charity, and all that. These are Christian values that have been cultivated by families, and they're also traditional values that say don't kill, don't shed blood. I know in some of in our communities, if you're told that if you kill, then you're finished. In fact, if you kill, they burn down your house and exile you. You go on exile. So the church is saying that because families are losing their values, societal values are bastardizing, and it starts from the family. Like Pope John Paul said, he says the family is a mini ecclesia. That his family is a small church, and by extension is a microcosm of the macro society. That's the larger society. So what they are saying there is that we need to get back to our family values in order to arrest what we're having today. And then the security operatives need to up their ante and improve on securing lives and property.
And one key statement there is that all hands must be on deck. That's what it means.
From family to the military chiefs.
Yes. If you look at the different religions that we have in the world, it speaks of one thing: moral.
Yeah.
If you look at the Quran will tell you do not kill. Quran will tell you do not steal. The same thing in Christianity. The same thing even in
traditional religion, traditions.
So do not that's where the family needs to fall back to.
Exactly.
All right. So we need to eschew this over pressuring our children to get rich quick. This push for I want to be like Dangote without putting in work, without doing what
or studying Dangote's background,
rudiments of what Dangote did to getting where it is. So if we start correcting society from the family, it will make a large inroad into bringing about a saner society. But if we do not do that, and we were quick to divide ourselves into religious and ethnic groups, it will forever not change anything the way we are. I want to believe that Christians who believe in our Lord Jesus Christ are beginning should by now begin to go back to the days of each one teach one, because that's where it starts. I'm talking about Christianity because that's my fold. Each one teach one. Bring back those values of it is the sanctity of life, the weight of life, worth of life. It's not about the number of how much you have in your bank account.
Exactly.
It's about integrity. It's about hard work.
And our parents will teach us that a good name is better than gold. So let's look at the last story, because we're back to these days of threats to strike and all that. The Nigerian Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress declares a 14 days notice of strike to the federal government because of our failure to implement the 6-point agreement reached on October 2, 2023. The Labour unions, in a statement jointly signed by NLC and TUC presidents, Comrade Joe Ajira and Comrade Festus Osifo, said the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria expressed profound concern over the non-implementation of 16-point agreement reached with federal government. He said, the union said, these agreements which were reached with the federal government were focused on addressing the massive suffering and general harsh economic consequences of the ill-conceived and ill-executed IMF World Bank induced hike in the price of PMS and the devaluation of the Naira. These dual policies have had, as we predicted, their economic consequences for the masses and workers of Nigeria. According to his statement, widespread hunger is now ravishing millions of Nigerians, with workers' purchasing power severely eroded, while insecurity has assumed an increasing dimension. Nigerians are left wondering where their next meals will come from and what tomorrow might bring. The level of panic, anxiety amongst the populace has become nightmarish. Unfortunately, in the midst of all this, it appears our government is bereft of appropriate measures ameliorate the huge burden it has foisted on the citizenry. We wish to state that these agreements, which encompass a wide range of issues crucial to the well-being of Nigerian masses and workers, have not been honored as pledged by the federal government, from wage awards and palliative adjustments, improved access to public utilities constrained by this development, and recognizing the urgency of the situation and the imperative of ensuring the protection and defense of the rights and dignity of Nigerian workers and citizens. The NLC and TUC hereby issue a stern ultimatum to the federal government to honor their part of the understanding within 14 days from tomorrow, 9th of February 2024. And that's the story.
I think the NLC they've endured a lot. Remember when
another strike?
Promises.
And they're giving notice tomorrow?
Promises upon promises.
Yeah, okay.
Remember when they were giving 30 days, NLC gave a warning for 30 days. In 30 days, if these demands are not met, we'll go on strike. And then the federal government came on and said, okay, hold on, let's do this and that. It's more like a cat and a mouse game going on between the NLC and the federal government. I understand, I'm trying to play the devil's advocate now for the federal government.
Okay.
Knowing that we do not have enough money, even to cater to the most important needs, talk more of salary. Salary increment for civil servants is one of the basics.
It's statutory.
But again,
from this month.
Yes. You also should know that civil servants are not the only humans in Nigeria. The working population, yes, they cater for, they account for a good number of Nigerian population, and
the impact on the domestic economy.
But there are people who, the rate of unemployment is astronomically high, and so when all of these is met, the normal you and I will go to the same market as the civil servants. The federal government, the labor contingent, the labor representatives, well, I muted. I was hearing that they would want the federal government to start off the minimum wage with 400,000 naira. It started with,
from where?
It started with 200,000 naira, and I was wondering where we're going to get the money to pay this salary. As of today, some states are finding it difficult to pay 30,000 naira. Talk more of paying 200,000 naira. But labor and government should dialogue quickly. The wage award, if I were to advise labor, let's continue with the wage award now. As the
adjustment now, as a statutory salary.
Yeah, for now.
For now.
Until federal government finds it fit.
But that'll be another 2 years, because there's a statutory provision for review of workers emoluments.
So for
public
now,
service emoluments.
That the times that we are now, we need to start looking at, marry the reality with what our demands are. We cannot meet that up now as Nigeria. Or somebody will be out there watching and saying, no, what is this guy talking about?
So what they're saying, yeah, because we don't have enough time, the 14-day strike notice, it doesn't
will put everybody on the edge again, because
it will damage the economy further.
It will damage the economy further.
Already there was this.
People will start going to panic buying and all of that. Exactly. It will disrupt a lot of work.
It will worsen our case. The poor man will be worse off. So most times, labor should be very constructive. Labor should not always look at the spur of the moment, because that's what happens. And this is coinciding with the countrywide protests that we've noticed brewing.
Yes. That's true. We saw what happened.
May it not be that labor is the one inciting it?
The federal government can accuse labor of,
because the APC was accusing opposition parties.
Yes, of inciting what happened in Kano, what happened
in Niger,
in Niger State. It is obvious that labor not add salt to injury. It's something that we would.
I think they should take their time, and the federal government too must reconsider the 14-point agreement. They are already pursuing the salary thing. There are other issues within the 14-point, 16-point agreement.
If we look at the 16-point agreement, the Nigerian government can look at some very significant ones and say, We cannot fulfill all now.
Let's put this.
Let's do this. Let's do 6.
So they must be seen to be doing something. Let Nigerian government engage labor once again. Now they are giving 14 days strike notice. 14 days, 2 weeks, and 2 weeks is long enough for them to engage government. There may not be that it's some kind of blackmail, emotional blackmail, or some kind of engagement that will make government capitulate towards some untoward demands from labor. Labor should operate in a transparent manner that should be trusted, and government should come out to show that they are prepared to actually engage labor constructively and meet them halfway at least. Without that, then strike is imminent. That's much we can take on today's program, Press Roundtable. Tomorrow is another date. Don't go away. We still have Let's Talk, and beyond Let's Talk, we have the global news at 9 p.m. Peace is the pathway to progress. Make peace your watchword. Thank you very much, B. Cosby, for coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
My name is Bon Woke. I'm sure you're waiting for other programs of the station. Don't go away.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring honest pop news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.